In the last video with the Honda Fit, we installed the Garrett turbo and fabricated a custom intercooler and intake setup for it. With that done, we were finally able to start it and listen to the turbo. And now we are ready to completely finish the turbo install by fabricating a custom one-of-a-kind exhaust. And this is going to be the perfect exhaust for a turbocharged daily driver because it's going to be a dual exit valve exhaust. That means with the valve open, it'll be loud, you'll hear the turbo, it'll be fun. But you want to get on the highway and not die of drone, you can close the valve, the exhaust will be diverted through 3 mufflers and it will be dead silent. Now, of course, before we can build like the back section of the exhaust, we have to build the downpipe first. The way that the turbo is mounted in this car, it's kind of right in the middle of the engine. The hole for the exhaust is farther towards the driver's side. So we have to make a downpipe that comes out of the turbo, turns 180 degrees, and then goes out towards the back of the car. What does that mean? Well, you guessed it. It means pie cuts. So the downpipe is installed in there. As you can see, fits nicely. The heat shield's still there. I'm trying to keep all the factory heat shields, all the factory, like creature comfort stuff. Stuff that really doesn't make that big of a difference, but I think all together makes it a much better daily. So we gotta come out, around here, down this way. Right here is where it'll split off. In one direction, it'll be a straight pipe. In the other direction, it'll have the 3 different mufflers. And there's going to be a small resonator right here. $90 millimeters. So this fits good enough. I'm gonna tack this together. Then I can tack it to the flex pipe and continue. So now we got the flex pipe down and aiming to this section. So we gotta come out straight, do a 90, and then this is where the first resonator is going to go. I will say, the one thing about the Fit, it's not designed to have a big exhaust and be low, because there's things like this frame section that hang down and there's enough room for a 1.5 inch pipe there, but a 2.5 inch pipe, it's a little tight. And then the resonator here, it's probably gonna hit the ground, but it is what it is. 15 centimeters. So it's nice and lined up for the resonator. It hugs this heat shield as closely as it pretty much can. And then it also, Hugs the frame pretty much as closely as it can. Lots of room over here, that's no biggie. But see, you know, you can see how close to the top it was, and it is still definitely the lowest thing on the vehicle. It's not bad. I mean, it's, you know, half an inch lower than right here, but it is definitely the lowest. Now, the nice thing is that we can get this close to the frame because I have these upgraded exhaust hangers. They're like rock solid. So once these are all on and all the hangers are done, the exhaust should barely move. So we shouldn't have to worry about it hitting the frame. These things are awesome, cheap on Amazon. They just suck to install and uninstall. But speaking of which, I'm gonna go ahead and install those hangers and weld the hangers onto this part of the exhaust already. That way this thing can free sit and we can use the jack to get the resonator and the rest of the stuff perfect. Nice. For the exhaust side of things, we have these. This is a pack of exhaust hangers from Vibrant. They're awesome because they've got, you know, the beveled end, but they also have a stopper, which I enjoy. So we'll kind of bend and cut these up and then tack them to, you know, the exhaust. So now I can do this. Notice that I didn't move at all. And use this over here. Ooh. Ah. And so yeah, this is the, you can see, you know, it's barely gonna clear the floor of the car there, but then you can kind of see it sticks down from the side skirt quite a bit. Tis what it is. Maybe I should just lift it. Should I lift the fit, turn it into a rally car? So I'm gonna take the exhaust off, go over all the MIG welds with the TIG welder, and just tack it more, make sure it's nice and solid, not gonna warp or flex, and then I'm gonna put it back on and finish this section. I got this here tool to hopefully help with getting these stiff exhaust clamps off. That one worked. Yeah, let's go. So I did go ahead and weld up the first section of the exhaust entirely. That way, all the warping that will happen has already happened. That'll make the fitment for the back section a little better. But now that that is off and I have some time, I'm gonna pull the downpipe off real quick and add the second O2 bung for the wideband. So this first section of the exhaust is installed. I'm so happy with the way it turned out. Downpipe is back in. It now has heat wrap because it does come close to an AC line and some brake lines. So I think that will help with that. Something about, I don't know, just making exhausts and making intercooler piping, some of my favorite stuff. It's pretty easy and it's really rewarding because you're fitting things together. It's like a puzzle. And then you put it all together at the end and you get to hear your car in a way different way. And you can tweak different things to make it sound different and all sorts of stuff. Speaking about sound, I know this exhaust is not done, but I kind of want to hear what it sounds with just this resonator. And that will be about what it sounds like when it's on loud mode. Let's do it, eh? Definitely smoother and less tractor with the resonator. But resonators they get rid of the whistle of the turbo a bit. I'm gonna let it warm up and then give it a couple revs. So it's the next morning. Last night was a pretty late night trying to get the first section of the exhaust completed, but man, I could not be happier with the results. The exhaust is pretty quiet at idle, but when you rev it, it gets pretty loud, and the induction noise with the lack of blow-off valves sounds freaking sweet. But since I was working on this thing like 12 hours last night, I am pretty tired. Thankfully, I've got some mud water in this here Pennzoil cup, which is a great opportunity to thank Mud Water for sponsoring this video. Mud Water is a Healthy Habits brand known for its popular coffee alternative, Rise Cacao. This right here is your solution to all of your problems with coffee. It's got 4 functional mushrooms with only a fraction of the amount of caffeine that coffee has, so you get all day energy without the crash and without the jitters. Each ingredient on this list was added for a purpose. Chai and cacao for good flavor, lion's mane for focus, cordyceps to promote natural energy, and both chaga and reishi mushrooms to support a healthy immune system. And from my experience, all of those ingredients actually work. When I drink this, I feel a little bit of a buzz, I feel energetic, but I don't notice a crash and I don't notice any jitters that I get from caffeine. To me, Mud Water tastes kind of like a chai tea latte, which I absolutely love. And there are a bunch of ways to prepare your mud water. You've got iced mud, a mud latte 2.0, spicy mud, mud shake, butter mud, slightly sweet mud latte, and a bunch of other ways if you get creative. I mean, it's just like coffee in the way that you can have fun with it and preparing it. Now, my personal favorite is iced mud. You put 1 tablespoon of your mud water and 6 ounces of hot water. You stir it up with a frother, pour it over ice, add some milk, and boom. It's delicious, it's refreshing, and I love it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I still like my coffee. Every morning I'm gonna have coffee. But what I love Mud Water for is an energy boost halfway through the day. If I drink caffeine after, 4 p.m., I'm gonna have trouble sleeping, and Mud Water does not do that to me. But either way, if you guys are looking for a delicious, effective coffee alternative, check out Mud Water. Mud Water is hooking you guys up with a special offer. If you go to mudwater.com/Gingium, which will be up in the cards and in the description down below, you can get started for only $29. That's less than $1 a cup or a serving a day. So a huge thank you to Mud Water for sponsoring this video and giving me the energy to complete this exhaust. Let's get back to it. So the back section of this exhaust is where things get fun. Off of this V-band, it's going to split into a dual exit. On the driver's side, it's gonna be a straight pipe. No mufflers, no resonators, no nothing. Coming off that pipe at a 90-degree angle will be the other exit on the passenger side. This will have a quite large Mishimoto muffler right here and an additional quite large Mishimoto resonator right here. So that way, when the valve right here is open, the exhaust will just go straight out the straight pipe. When the valve closes, the exhaust will be redirected through both the muffler and resonator, and it should be nice and quiet. Obviously, with all this going on, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to make everything fit back here, it's a challenge to make it all removable easily, sturdy, and to make the tips, even on each side. Wish me luck. I'm gonna get started on the straight pipe side. So we're gonna come off to the V-band right here to the valve, about yay, and then out the back. Also, I hope I have enough material because I'm getting kind of low. So I'm thinking that I actually might end up running out of material And because of that, I'm actually gonna do this side first because this is the more important side. It's got mufflers on it. Barely enough room, but I do believe there is enough room. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut both the muffler and the resonator really short, stick a pipe in it, and then I should be able to just kind of move it around, you know? Because look, that's about right. And just put a resonator here instead of this pipe. So I just need this little corner. So in order to make this work, I had to extend the pipe for the cutoff a little bit. It's a little hard to get it all lined up, but you get the idea. So now I have to notch this tube kind of like so, and then I can tack it all together and start building the hangers. So there we have it. We've got the Mishimoto muffler and resonator attached to the exhaust. It's all tacked together. We now have a exhaust hanger as well. Part of me likes the way it looks with the two right next to each other, rotated 100 or rotated 90 degrees. Part of me doesn't like it, but the nice thing is, you know, you're not gonna see it unless you bend down. So I can take it off, weld it up with the TIG welder, and then the last piece. So the exhaust is done. The valve is plugged in and wired, just hanging right here for now. Obviously, after this test, we're gonna run it through the car, put it somewhere nice. When I start it, it should be in quiet mode. You fucking kidding me, bro? We have a problem. I think it's probably getting caught on the flange, which is kind of silly because the flanges came with the valve, but it's a pretty cheap valve, so maybe I should stop doing that. For now, I'm just gonna take this tip off. The valve will still work, hopefully. Yeah, actually, let's just see. Somehow, while trying to remove these bolts, all three of them have gone cross-threaded. Plug the valve in, it opens. So yeah, that means it's definitely just hitting the flange. All right, I got the valve to work with a little bit of grinding. That's like stock volume. And that's at cold start. Give it about 2 minutes. It's gonna get quieter. There's a big difference, that's for sure. The one thing that stinks about turbo cars, like I wish there was something between what it sounds like now with the valve open and what it essentially sounded like open downpipe. Because I like the turbo whistle of the open downpipe, but not like the tractoriness. The idle sounds sick here. All right, one more day of work. So today I would love to drive this thing, primarily so we can get some exhaust clips of it under load, but also just because I want to drive the thing. Now, in order to do that, there's a lot of little things that have to be done. We obviously have to actually route the wiring for the exhaust valve, but as of now, this thing still thinks it's naturally aspirated. So we have to update the tune. We also have to get the wideband sensor in there. So I'm just gonna get started. First thing I'm gonna do is build a mount for the wideband gauge. Cue the plasma cutter. So the mount for the gauge is done. It's over in the corner drying some more. I went ahead and made a wiring harness for this thing. One of the worst things about modifying your car, in my opinion, is cheap wiring. You use a cheap butt connector or cheap solder. In a year or two, it's gonna fail, and then you're gonna be chasing down that failure for a couple days. It sucks. So I got Deutsch connectors, and I made a harness off of the wire tap that will feed both the wideband sensor and the exhaust valve with nice Deutsch connectors. Everything's fused, everything is waterproof. It's quality parts, so it should last. You never know, but I'm gonna go ahead and install it now. We can test it. So all I gotta do, plug it into this here Deutsch connector. Well, that's embarrassing. Seems as if, yeah. So this Deutsch connector is pulled out. And to be honest, this is where the first issue comes. I have upgraded to Deutsch connectors, but I have upgraded to cheap Deutsch connectors. And that's our issue, I think. Because this one has pulled out, which, don't know why I did that. Nothing a little tape won't fix, right? God, I'm such a hypocrite. We got our O2 sensor working. Let's give it a start. Might as well, right? Beautiful. And exhaust valve working. It's a little loud though, The switch is a little messed up too, but hey, everything works. I'm gonna grab my Honda Flash Pro. This is what allows me to tune the factory ECU, although it was the same price of a standalone. It was $800, so it's like, yeah, that's really great, really great. So now I plug this into the OBD2 port, update the Flash Pro, then it comes up with all the base maps. We got a whole bunch of different base maps, but I think our best bet is going to be this Goretti Turbo base map, because it's the only turbo base map. Bring it back down to stock injectors. I also set a boost cut at 4 pounds. Let me go ahead and try to upload this. Ooh, baby! Hey! Oh yeah. So I'm not 100% sure if this base map loaded correctly, but I'm gonna drive it and keep an eye out on the AFR and the boost pressure. I mean, it feels like it did, like it's stock. It's so quiet, it's hilarious. That was the perfect timing. Oh yeah. I just gave it a little bit of throttle and reaching right up. That was positive pressure. Just a little bit, like 0.06. Okay, I'm gonna open the valve. Exhaust sounds good. This is the greatest daily driver ever. Oh my God. I can't stop smiling. And so that is it. The Fit is turbocharged, has a intercooler setup, and now it has a custom dual exit exhaust. Super happy with the way the exhaust itself came out. Not so happy with the valve. It's already having issues opening, closing. I think it's the switch. The switch is just kind of a cheap switch, but you know, yet again, probably should buy higher quality exhaust valves in the future, which stinks because they're expensive. But if you want an exhaust valve, ching. In the next video, this thing is going to the dyno and we see how much it makes. These things make about 98 horsepower to the wheels stock, usually somewhere around there. We're shooting for 150, 160, so 60 horsepower gain. You know, 160 doesn't sound like that much horsepower, it's not, but it's gonna be fun in this thing. It's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be awesome. Driving it today was such a rewarding experience, even though, you know, we're not ripping on it. Now the dyno video might be in a few videos because we're waiting for an appointment. Thank you guys so much for watching these videos, for your support on this build. It's been incredible. I put so much effort into it and it is turning out so awesome. If you guys want to see the next video ahead of schedule, whether it's the dyno video or something else, please check out Patreon. Your support there helps out the channel so much. You get early access to videos and access to exclusive posts, content, and all that kind of stuff. Huge thank you for watching. Huge thank you to Mudwater for sponsoring this video. See you guys next time.